Your world unfolding.
In the company of my guide, Dr. Hanif, who runs Sitara, we arrive at a dry clearing in the forest with the ruins of a few wooden huts. Only one hut stands covered by a tarpaulin sheet provided by Sitara organisation. It's a truly desolate sight. Under a blazing sun, about 20 exhausted-looking men huddle in a thin strip of shade. Inside the hut, the women and children shelter from the sun. Many of the children have distended stomachs and sunken eyes, clear signs of severe malnutrition. I'm reminded of Dr. Binayak Sen's words that many tribals are living in a state of chronic, stable famine. But hunger is not the only problem here. A village leader called Mutaya explains what happened 2 weeks earlier.
The
local forest officials came and bulldozed our huts and burned everything. This time we were lucky. They let us take most of our belongings. Last time they just burned everything and we were put in jail for 2 days and beaten.
Another villager, 23-year-old Lakshmi, also speaks up.
The local officials also stole 5,000 rupees from my hut before they burned it. That money belonged to everyone. It could have bought food for us for months.
The villagers here are in a double bind. Most of them are refugees from the neighbouring state of Chhattisgarh, considered the epicenter of Maoism and so the heart of the government's counter-insurgency, Operation Green Hunt. Having crossed the border and settled in state forest, local government considers the refugees illegal squatters and through a process of intimidation and attrition is trying to get them to leave. As a result, they're almost entirely abandoned. There are no wells, no food centres, no farming assistance, no schools, no health workers. And since their huts were burned down for the second time in as many years, hardly any shelter from the searing heat. With things so bad here, Mutaya explains why he left in the first place.
The Maoists came to our village and accused my family of being police informers. They killed my father and my uncle. Then they burned everything. And there were others in the village who were also killed.
I learned that the entire village left Chhattisgarh together, most of them because they were being persecuted, not by the Salvajador militia nor the paramilitaries, but by the Maoists themselves. Their story speaks to a further complexity in this already complex story. The fact that the Maoists have, in many cases, turned against other tribals, accusing them of being police informers and extorting money and goods from them. They've carried out hundreds upon hundreds of summary executions in the process. The Maoists have also turned against people who've tried to provide humanitarian assistance. My guide and contact here, Dr. Hanif, had 2 volunteers hacked to death by Maoists in recent years. The price paid for giving food and clothes away without the Maoist authority. Whether it was the Maoists, the Salvajador militia or the state forces, many villagers spoke of the cycle of violence that had destroyed their community. This is Mandakala Nakshimaya from nearby Butchrai village, another refugee village hidden in state forest.
First, the Salvajador burned my house and threatened to kill my mother. They said we supported the Maoists. Then the Maoists came and burned houses too, saying we were police informers. They threatened to kill us also. And we couldn't go to the police. They're all corrupt, and we're all afraid of them. I couldn't live like that. I had to leave. I can never return there now. I try to grow food for my children, and when I can, I work in the cotton fields. I can earn 100 rupees a day, but I don't know what the future will be like. I know my children are starving. We have no water to drink, and if we get sick, there are no medicines. But I have to stay here. You will have to kill me before I return to the fighting in Chhattisgarh.
I spent over a week on the border and speak with dozens of Koya refugees. Again and again, I hear stories of death, violence, loss of land, the struggle to feed children, to earn money, to collect water, and to build a life without fear of the forest officials, the Maoists, or the police. Here in central India, many of the tribals have simply lost everything, and the road ahead looks no easier than the long road already behind them. Yet, despite the suffering, there's also an undeniable spark that shines through, that of a proud people made resilient through community and shared identity. Sitting there, sheltering from the scorching heat in the only standing hut in a dry clearing in remote forest, it's the children who ask if I want to hear a song they've been learning. Of course I do. And while the stories of the hardship faced by these Koya tribal refugees will stay with me forever, I like to think that their melodies will as well.
Papa,